everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Dungeon of Deadly Delights, a marriage made in horror. Of course, Rob DiLauro. And of course, with me as always, my wife, Melody. Melody, how are you doing?
I'm good, babe. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for asking.
Always.
We want to thank you again for your continued love and support when it comes to the show. Really do appreciate it. Please like and subscribe and comment. It definitely helps us out with the algorithm. The algorithm is our enemy, not our friend. That's an unfortunate situation. We have to fight against it. So if you guys love what we're doing, definitely, do all those things.
Fight power.
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
We're going to talk about another subgenre of monsters that are very popular. And we're going to call this episode Rise of the Zombies in honor of the 20th anniversary of Shaun of the Dead and, of course, the release of Fallout, which we both absolutely love. But yeah, Melody, what did you, what are your thoughts on Shaun of the Dead? Like, where, did you experience it, 20 years ago?
I do believe I saw it in the theaters. Absolutely fantastic movie. Hilarious. So funny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, you gotta see it. Cue Mel's line. You gotta go see it.
Go watch it.
Anywho, it's so funny. It is a love story, as we have stated before in the past. It is, it's just a comedy. It's so funny. And my favorite scene happens to be, it's the day after this whole apocalypse has happened, and our main character gets up to go to work, and he goes down to the corner store, not realizing there's a bunch of zombies around him, because to him, they're acting like normal. Mm-hmm. And, he's just going about his daily life until he realizes, oh, what is wrong with these people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other thing, too, about it, when it comes to my experiences, I had actually was at a con and I'd gotten a DVD of a show called Space, which is what the director Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost were part of. And it was just really, really, well done. When it comes to the pop culture references and stuff, just the way they shot it. Mm-hmm. I think the idea for Shaun of the Dead actually came from, there was a moment in the show where I think he's high on crystal meth or something, Simon Pegg's character, and he's playing Resident Evil, and then he falls asleep on the couch, and he has a dream, and then all of a sudden he's got this first person's perspective, there's zombies in the apartment, and he's just shooting them with guns and stuff. I think that's where the idea came from. And then, of course, they were both, very much deep lovers of George Romero's work, which, of course, is on the episode. Yeah. We're not going to, miss the master George Romero's work.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it was so beautifully done, in terms of horror comedy. I think the comedy, also kind of ramps up the tension. It wasn't just, yucks for the sake of just being funny. And
we're going to the Winchester.
Yeah. There's actually something that Bruce Campbell said. He says the reason I think why Ash works really well on Evil Dead is because he's just some everyman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, that's what Shaun was. He was just an everyman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's why it was so effective. It was just a wonderful movie. I remember it like it was yesterday, and I've seen it probably 75 times since it's been out.
And it's hilarious. It is completely hilarious.
Yeah, but what I do appreciate, though, is that, they definitely have a grasp on the horror aspect, because it becomes a horror movie, a complete 180 once, certain things happen in the pub. It just really, ramps up that horror.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where we're not watching horror movies.
Until the very end, when he's got his best friend who's a zombie locked up in his shed, and they're playing video games together. He's like, no! Yeah. Don't bite!
Yeah. They're just playing video games out in the shed, yep.
He's like, oh!
Yeah. And, it was a rom-zom comedy. He's trying to get his, his girlfriend back and stuff. But the reality is it was, a love affair between Shaun and Ed. It was effective enough for American audiences, which, of course, it was the hit that it was. You know what I mean? And it became the Cornetto trilogy, which, became, of course, Hot Fuzz, and then, The World's End, and, and Simon Pegg, became the star that he became, and started, doing Mission Impossible movies and stuff. And Edgar Wright is Edgar Wright. And then, of course, the release of Fallout, which is, a show that came out on Amazon Prime. I am playing Fallout 4 right now just because of the show. But I knew nothing about the world, and Melody knew nothing about the world.
I don't play video games, and I got sucked into the show, and I watched it all in one sitting.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just it's very It's very smart in the way of, like it has something to say, but at the same time it has, like its own world building that's like kind of like kooky and strange. There's all these kind of different factions and stuff, and different, it's
different
sort of,
fallout shelters. So
it reminds me of One Piece in the apocalypse.
Yeah, but what's worse though, the fallout shelters or the above world where, radiation has taken over? And let's state the fact that there's a huge group of women that find the ghoul to be extremely attractive.
Right. And, of course, since this is a zombie episode, the rise of the zombies. Walton Goggins is just, he's incredible and everything, but he really is doing, like, the Lord's work when it comes to this performance. Because, first of all, he's got to play a ghoul, which is, if you're not familiar with the world, is like, basically a radiated person. Your eyes... your nose and your ears fall off. And,
no nose.
You become
none at all.
Basically an immortal, And
if you don't take medication, you become feral, and you like to eat people.
Yeah, so there is a zombie aspect. I think there's actually a moment where Walton doesn't have his medication that he's
and he's starting to go feral. Yeah.
Yeah, he starts cutting into a guy's ass and eating his ass, literally. But yeah, it's wild to me because like when I first heard of the Fallout series, all I saw was that little guy with his thumbs up, and I was just like, is this like a steampunk sci-fi like video game series? I had no idea that it was about the apocalypse.
And the thumbs up means that the mushroom cloud is there.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like playing the game and just seeing the series, I mean, it's dark and it's brutal and it's funny and it's like, it's a really smart series. That could really just kind of suck you in just from the idea of, it just introduces the story so well. That
and the main female character, she's very naive.
Yeah, she's very naive.
Super naive.
She's too adorable for that.
She will kick you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, that's exactly what the ghoul tells her. Like, so it's only a matter of time before you become me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it is also her journey too. But I also, like when it comes to Ella Purnell, first of all, she's killing it. Oh my God. And she is in actually one of the movies that we're going to mention later in our catalog. But, she's just killing it in this role. She's doing an amazing job. If you guys haven't seen her, of course, she was in also in Yellow Jackets for a season. But yeah, she's awesome in the show. Cast is just great. Everything just works.
It's easy to binge watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Super easy to binge watch.
Definitely. And also, from my perspective, like being a huge lover of, the original Dune since I was a kid, and of course Twin Peaks, it's always great to see Kyle MacLachlan like putting in work and him getting work. It's
right.
He's so awesome.
Exactly.
Let's start up the episode. Let's start digging up our selections here with a film that I decided to start with only because like Zack Snyder's getting so much shit recently.
Oh my God, I don't know why. Rebel Moon's so good.
She liked Rebel Moon.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
No, listen. Yeah. There's nothing to be sorry about. You just gotta love it. You appreciate what you appreciate.
Zack Snyder is a fantastic director and cinematographer. I'm sorry, y'all. Back off. He's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has his flaws just like everybody else, but to, just sit there and just shame his entire,
No, don't do that. Yeah, he's so good. He's so good at what he does.
But anyway, we wanted to talk about something that was more constructive and more positive. We don't like to, put negative energy into the air when it comes to the show. So we wanted to talk about a world that he created. Actually came out during the pandemic, and I was so sad because he had this whole deal attached. He had this animated series that he was going to do, and he was going to do these these offshoot projects and stuff. Netflix just basically threw money at him, and they were just like, go with it, go ahead. Because when the pandemic happened, Army of the Dead was a huge hit for Netflix.
And let's face it, Netflix is making a lot of money off of us.
Absolutely. But yeah, it just really just hit the ground running, and just really people were just watching it in droves, because obviously we were stuck in the house. There wasn't a lot of stuff going on, and and I just think it came out at the perfect time. It is a heist film that's set in Las Vegas. Involves this crack team of people, including Dave Bautista, and Ella Purnell plays his daughter. The wonderful Ella from Fallout. She plays the daughter. She goes off on the mission with them.
And wait, can I interject here? Can we just say how funny Dave Bautista is? I think every role he plays, he is absolutely hilarious.
Well, I don't think even it's just that. I think there's, like, I
I
don't
think
know.
he injects his own personality into every role he plays.
I think Dave Bautista works because, he takes risks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like somebody like The Rock, like a wrestler turned actor.
Mhm.
Like basically like he kind of like stays on the fringe, like, oh, I'm gonna do like Disney movies and stuff, or I'm gonna do this. And Dave Bautista's like, no, I'm gonna do Blade Runner 2049. I'm gonna do Dune. I'm gonna do, like really like, takes risk with his acting.
But he's so good
And I think
at
he can
it.
act
He's
his ass
so
off too.
good at it. Yeah.
He's definitely one of the best actors turned wrestlers for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrestler turned actor.
Oh, sorry, wrestler turned actor. And, it shows in Army of the Dead. So actually, Mel, what did you think of this movie when it came out?
Oh my God, absolutely fantastic. Okay, first of all, you have all of Las Vegas walled off. It's quarantined because it's all zombies now at this point. And you have this as Rob said, a crack team of
You got a safe cracker?
Crackers. It's a heist. So they're going in to get into this vault at this casino that has billions of dollars in it. They're trying to steal, and they have to get into Las Vegas safely and by passage from the king of the zombies, who's actually highly intelligent, but the queen of the zombies is also, highly intelligent as well.
Right.
You have these dumb zombies that are like hive mind controlled by the king, and then you have a zombie tiger who is, part of the magic show. Tigers from the magic show.
Yeah, they said he was actually Siegfried and Roy's tiger.
Yeah, that poor tiger. That poor baby. Anyway, so they're going in, everything's going fine. They get their passage, and then one of the guys totally fucks up and takes the head of the queen. Now, mind you, can I give away the story?
Well, that was actually the root.
Well, yeah, he was actually going in for scientific purposes to get the head to find out why she was highly intelligent, and she was a showgirl, that the king and the queen were actually in love. Like, they actually loved each other as zombies, and she was pregnant with a zombie baby.
Yeah, and there's actually a scene where like they're holding the fetus and the zombie king's crying like, oh,
yeah, he's freaking out. So therefore they lose passage. And then it becomes a total shit show.
Sure, yeah, it becomes total chaos. But they're so, to me, honestly, it felt like, even there's one female character that like looks like Vasquez from Aliens.
Oh yeah.
With a bandana and stuff. You got the Burke character, the one that's like, working for the company that's like, doing shady shit behind their back.
Yeah, that'd be like a Resident Evil kind of guy.
You have the helicopter pilot. There's all these different elements that come from all these different movies, but Aliens is definitely like the main thing.
And Resident Evil.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think Aliens definitely is definitely injected into this film.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? When it comes to like, just kind of plot and character development and all that kind of stuff.
And it just becomes a total fight to get out of there, and a fight for survival. And then they're also fighting the clock because, Las Vegas is going to get blown up. It's going to get nuked.
Yeah.
The government decided, yeah. So,
first of all, the cinematography in this is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, it's amazing.
I think.
Yeah.
I think that when Zach does something, he really brings his A game to everything that he does. He absolutely has his own style. You're either with it or you're not. But I think this film in particular, man, it really does look like it's worth it was cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make.
Probably did.
You know what I mean?
Did you see the makeup?
No, I don't think
did you see the set design?
I think it was lower budget.
The set design was absolutely fantastic. The makeup was absolutely fantastic. And then you had an A-lister cast.
Yeah, he definitely had a budget to work with, but it wasn't it wasn't like Marvel movie budgets or anything like that. It was a smaller budget.
There's a possibility of bringing this whole storyline back and bringing these characters back.
That was another thing I wanted to mention too, is that, thank you for mentioning that, because there is this weird kind of timeline portal thing going on where like supposedly, like even Zack Snyder said in interviews and stuff that like, this team is actually like seeing like skeletons of themselves like strewn around and
like
whatnot.
they've done it before.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this weird virtual
loop.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Our next Deadly Delight when it comes to the Rise of the Zombies is a film that came out in 1985. Just to give you a little bit of backstory, George Romero had written like a 1,000-page script. He couldn't get the budget for it, so like they ended up scrapping like half of that script because like they just had no money. They were actually underground, and there was there was potential to like die. Like you could fall in certain areas or like drown in certain areas. It was like completely like dark in certain places. They couldn't light the entire freaking mine or whatever. But of course, we're talking about Day of the Dead, which I do have some history with. I did a convention a couple years ago. So I was working press for Walker Stalker. Whatever. And I got to meet Sherman Howard, who played Bub. And it was so awesome because I really got a chance to like talk to him all weekend, because these people that were just rabid Walking Dead fans were walking past this guy. They had no clue who he was, and it really just hurt my heart because when it comes to iconic zombies, like Bub is iconic, top of the list.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just so kind and accommodating, and like let me interview him. We like sat down together. We were just hanging out all weekend, and then all of a sudden there was a moment in Walking Dead at that time period where Greg Nicotero, of course, worked on the original Day of the Dead as a young man. He did like this Bub like homage on the episode, like one of the zombies like resembled Bub.
Yeah.
And I told Howard Sherman that as Greg Nicotero walked by, and I still have the picture. And if like nobody knew what they were seeing, but I was seeing history, because he looked at me and he said, "I should thank him for that. I haven't seen him since the movie." And he meant Day of the Dead.
Oh wow, okay.
So he gets up from the table, he goes up to Greg Nicotero, and they're both hugging each other, and I'm just snapping away like, oh my god, dude, you have no idea what you guys are seeing right now.
He was fangirling.
Oh, it was so cool, man.
Big time.
So cool. But anyway, we're talking about Day of the Dead, which, personally, when it comes to, like, Dawn of the Dead is great. I love the original Night of the Living Dead, of course. But, man, I think this is probably my favorite.
Yeah, well, they're in like a military fallout shelter, like underground, safe from the world. Not really, because, you got too many people down there.
Yeah. But
and
it also, like...
they're experimenting on zombies.
Yeah. Well, you got Frankenstein. Dr. fucking Frankenstein! Yeah, he's experimenting on zombies, right?
Right.
Like you've got the military aspect, and like, I mean, look, Rhodes, played by Joe Pilato, is kind of right. You know, like, hey man,
he's a dick about it.
What are we doing down here, wasting our fucking time? You know what I mean? Like he does have a point. So you do have like the workers, like the certain working class against the military, and you got this like just this whole like thing going on with them, like this just huge argument, you know what I mean? But they're all they both have points that make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time too, it's like you also have this zombie movie in this like this film that's trying to say something. Like George always had this tendency to say something
always political
or social or whatever. You remember this movie at all?
I remember Bub big time. I remember Bub. It's the fact that they were working with Bub to try to get him to remember things, and he was remembering things a little bit through action.
Yeah, and
even remembering how to shoot a gun, because Bub was military.
Well, that was the like the thing you were trying to you were supposed to get from the idea was that Bub was in the military because he does this at the end. But man, this is also this is work by Tom Savini, and in my honest opinion, this is Tom Savini's best work. I think this was so well done. Just the like the guts and the like all that stuff. The way they ripped Rhodes apart. Choke on him. Man, and you have this female protagonist who like, feels like an Ellen Ripley type. You know what I mean? She seems, like there's some flaws there. Obviously, her fucking marriage sucks. Her husband's horrible. You know what I mean? I know it's going to shit. Like up in the world, but like this guy is such a crybaby. You know what I mean?
Whiner. Yeah, and you see it right in the beginning where she's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, so Day of the Dead kind of feels like, in a weird way, like it sort of feels like a military complex movie, and it feels like a zombie film, but it also kind of feels like a soap opera too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's horror, obviously, zombie horror.
Yeah.
People getting ripped apart.
Oh yeah, it's got all that stuff. Our next deadly delight when it comes to the rise of the zombies is a film that actually this is Melody's main pick because I don't know. I don't really know too much about it. I've seen it a couple times. She absolutely loves it. It's a Korean export that came out I think in early 2000s. It did have an awful sequel called Peninsula.
Yeah, well, you don't need to watch the sequel. You just watch the first one.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about Train to Busan.
I absolutely love this movie. 100% love this movie. It is fantastic. It is long. It is over 2 hours. It is a very long movie. But you have a very famous Korean actor, and I cannot remember his name to save my life, but he's bigger. He's one of the bigger guys, like stature-wise. He's not... You see most Korean men, and they're like super skinny. He's not. He's like stocky. He's very famous. If you guys are
superhero geeks, he was actually in The Eternals. He was one of the
He's branched out into American.
He was in The Eternals.
Yeah. In the very beginning, you see a truck going through, like, one of those stops that the military has stopped, and there's this whole, like, tit for tat. And they're like, oh, we just have to check everything. And this guy hits a deer. And then you see the deer rise back up, and its eyes are milky.
That's the coolest part of the movie.
I know, it's so cool. And then you hear, and then there's this man, he's in the office of this building that, this company that he's running, and they're having issues with a chemical leak. And is causing some massive problems, and he's worried about the stock options, and he tells his assistant to sell everything off. Sell it. And in the meantime, he's having a disconnect with his daughter, and I guess his wife had already moved to Busan.
Well, disconnect with his daughter. He was an estranged... maybe that's why I don't relate to this movie, because I've never been a shitty father.
The wife up and left and went back to Busan, and I believe Busan is where her family is from. And it's his daughter's birthday, and he bought her a freaking Wii, which she already had like 2 other ones stacked up. And he's like, oh. And she's like, I really want to take the train to Busan to go see my mother on my birthday. That's what I want to do. And he's like, well, Daddy's got to work. And she's like, well, I can go by myself. So he has to make a decision. What's more important, his work or his kid? So he ends up getting on this train with his kid, and, he's still dealing with business.
Does he go to work, or does he dump his child off with his wife? He's a real piece of shit. I'm sorry.
Well, that's Korean men. That's why there's the whole 4B movement going on out there. Anyways, so he gets on the train with his daughter, and mind you, now in Korea, they have these bullet trains that go very fast, like from one end to the other end of the country, super fast. And you see a young girl and a homeless guy end up getting in this train too, and you don't realize, but this young girl's been bitten. And as the train closes up, there's somebody that says, hey, there's somebody in this bathroom that's not supposed to be here. The people show up, the conductors show up, the people that are there, and they're like, hey, you gotta come out. And he's like, I'm so sorry, everybody's dead. This guy's freaking out. He's traumatized. He saw something that like traumatized him horribly. This little girl is going from train to train or car to car trying to find a bathroom, and then this young girl that had gotten on the train turns. And then 100%
calamity ensued.
And people, and these zombies change like that. You're bit, you change. You bit, you change.
Sort of like another film we're going to talk about later.
So it becomes a complete survival of these people on this train where they're trying to like figure out what's going on, and the father realizes his daughter's not there, and he goes to find his daughter, and then he's being attacked by these zombies. It's such a beautiful and wonderfully shot movie, and the kills, woohoo, and there's blood everywhere, and these zombies are fast.
Yeah,
they are fast.
Our next deadly delight when it comes to Rise of the Zombies is a film that's very similar to Train to Busan in many ways. Well, actually, it came from there was a book that was written by Max Brooks, who's actually Mel Brooks' son. And World War Z is the film that we're going to be talking about. The book that Max wrote is much different from this. I think it had more of a journal diary feel to it, where this is just very straightforward. And I think the reason why I loved this movie so much is quite simply, well, actually two things. I thought it was very entertaining, number one. But number two, and the most important thing was this movie had everything stacked against it. It was nothing but production problems. It's nothing, there was just reports, from all these different entertainment sites, World War Z is they're doing reshoots or this and that and that,
Brad Pitt.
Oh no, I'm just saying there was a lot of issues with this movie. I mean, it should never have even come out. And people just were literally oh, this movie's gonna fucking suck. It's gonna be so bad. And me too, to a certain extent, because it just had so much riding against it, in terms of just budget. They were losing budget, they were going over budget, they had to reshoot this and reshoot that, and it was just a mess.
That's the film industry for you.
Yeah. But Brad Pitt, he was the one that, he was the producer on this. He stepped up and made this film happen. And I honestly I think it was really well done.
It's very well done.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on World War Z?
Oh my God, these zombies are absolutely freaking chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
They will climb over each other, creating a ladder wall to get over walls. They are so fast.
Yeah.
They move like liquid, like a river, running through everything.
Or like ants. Pretty much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even when they're trying to get across something, they become like a human barrel of monkeys or something.
Yeah, they're crazy. But if you have a disease that is lethal and deadly in you, they won't touch you. They only want healthy victims.
Sure.
They only want healthy carriers. They don't want people that are on the verge.
But Brad Pitt is the centerpiece in this movie, and I guess he's this, CDC James Bond or something. I mean, I work for the CDC, but he's a scientist, and look, he's been in a lot of movies where, man, he looks good. Fucking he looks great, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah.
He actually does. Yeah, I think those probably the last ones.
Just like a dashing man.
That's one of the last ones he looked good in.
What, the World War Z? Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, shit. But yeah, like I said, it does have certain similar threads when it comes to Train to Busan, only because of the instantaneous biting situation where you instantly turn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's literally and then
boom. It's I think they count. I think it was 3 seconds or 7 seconds.
Yeah,
something like 7 seconds. Yeah.
I thought the intro set piece was amazing. When they were in Philadelphia, Philly, and then his family are stuck in the car, and there's this whole thing going on, this whole outbreak. I love the globe trotting in this film. They go to Israel and all these different places and stuff, and Brad Pitt's character is he's got to be made of Teflon, because this dude literally survives a plane crashing to the ground.
Oh yeah, dude, it's crazy.
He has a pole stuck into his you know what I mean, a piece of the plane stuck inside of him, and he basically pulls himself out. This dude's literally bulletproof. So I think when he takes typhoid or whatever he takes at the end,
we don't know what he took. That's
it's not going to affect him.
We don't know what he took. All we know is that the CDC people are oh, that's not good. He pulled from the wrong cabinet.
Sure. Yeah.
So, Apparently, whatever he took, he cannot survive from.
Well, he can. That was the whole thing. It's like, like you said, if somebody's affected, they don't go after you. You know what I mean?
But he could survive the zombies, but I think whatever he took, he can't survive from that.
I don't know if they ever mentioned that before.
Yeah, we just know that he pulled from the wrong.
Yeah. It was basically like, just taking whatever,
Just shooting himself up.
Yeah, just taking whatever.
I just got to get through this. Like,
what is this, Black Plague? I gotta get out of here. Hey, we got the cure, everybody. It's Black Plague. Our next deadly delight, when it comes to Rise of the Zombies, is a film that, okay, I'm just gonna say it right now. If you're following me and you know my work, I have tons of history when it comes to this movie. I'm not gonna get into it. It's good stuff and there's bad stuff. One of them, the most honorable one for me, is that when I was doing my radio show a long time ago, I actually had Linnea as one of my hosts, and she was absolutely amazing. And then there's some other stuff that happened when it comes to this movie, or the people therein that I had involvement with. But, aside from all that shit, I do love Return of the Living Dead. Even though I do have history with it when it comes to my career and whatnot, I just absolutely love this movie. Like I said before, it just scratched me where I itch. I was, in the punk rock scene when I was young, and that whole aspect, really just kind of tickles me. But it's also not even just that. It's just that there is something really smart within, when it comes to, you have these, funeral guys working with these punk rockers, and it has this whole thing of, when it comes to a zombie invasion, anybody can pretty much get together and, work together to survive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So it wasn't just I don't think it was just cool to be cool. I think that was one of the things that, a lot of people just kind of like took from that, of course, the punk rock, situation. But I think it's a lot more than that. And if
cool
you're not,
to be a survivalist.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with the, with the movie, it was actually written by Dan O'Bannon, who actually wrote Alien. He, created the character Ripley and all that stuff. He was charged to write this movie, and he honestly had no idea what to do in the beginning, because I think at first it was supposed to be just kind of a sequel to the original Night of the Living Dead. So it's supposed to be set in the Pennsylvania countryside and whatever, and then he just came in and he was just no, I'm going to interject this punk rock thing and all this other stuff. So it's sort of
it was the time and the era, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's also kind of what Joel Schumacher did with the Lost Boys, which we do mention in our vampire episode. Go check that out. But yeah, he brought this whole different feel to it, and I mean, if you're born if you were raised in the punk rock scene, man, this movie just is just it. That's just a bee's
naked
knees.
Girls dancing on graves.
Yeah, you got Linnea Quigley dancing on a grave naked. Of course, when you're a young man, that's a that's a rite of passage. You know what I mean? But not only that, it's just a great zombie film, and it does have something to say at the end, because these people are just basically just fighting tooth and nail to survive, and then it's just the military drop the nuke. You know what I mean? Fuck them all.
Drop the nuke.
So although we're not in your face, it definitely has something to say. But at the same time, it's just it's just a fun zombie movie, and man, the effects are absolutely incredible. That's the one thing I do miss. With a lot of films, it's just practical effects.
Yep.
Yeah, just practical effects. And we have that moment where the half torso of the lady's on the
oh my
slab,
God, that's right.
and she's just basically telling them we feed because it hurts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
They can feel themselves rotting.
Yes. Yeah, and it was great.
Yes,
and you see her little spinal cord just going slap 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 like a fishtail. Yeah, my God, it's such a cool movie. But I don't know, there's just so many things that if you really pay attention to it, the character of Bert, the guy that works at the funeral home, he has a Luger for some reason, and somebody actually brought it to my attention years ago that I guess he has some sort of a Nazi paraphernalia around
what?
The funeral home. Yeah, he's supposed to be a Nazi guy. So that's like kind of his character.
Wow.
So, you know, so it's like not like, you know, like right there, but if you pay attention to it, it's like, oh, he's got like fucking Nazi paraphernalia and shit.
Listen
so you
here,
got
you dick. Take it down.
Yeah, so you got this dude, you know, working, you know, like this Nazi guy working at the funeral home. Then you got this older guy and this younger guy that works with him. And you like, you know, like it's just such a weird, like hodgepodge of survivalist in this movie. It's so strange. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it just worked. When the one zombie like picks up the, you know, like the medics, like, you know, and he just goes, send more paramedics. You know what I mean? Because they know that the more food's gonna come. It's just really funny.
That's called door dashing.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Yes. Yes.
Delivery.
Yes, it's door dashing. Yeah, he's door dashing. It's so cool. I love the trailer. You know, and you know, I'm just gonna throw a little shade out there. Who knew the only monster in that movie would be Brian Peck? Go fuck yourself, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Our final deadly delight when it comes to Rise of the Zombies is a film that, you know, me and Melody just absolutely adore.
We actually have a cat named after a main
right.
character.
We have a main
Cherry
coon
Darling.
named Cherry Darling.
Mm-hmm.
My experience when it comes to this is hands down the best theatrical experience I've ever had in my life. I remember when I went to see this movie and like everybody was just so like interactive with each other. I was high-fiving strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody was just laughing and like, you know, just banging on the seats.
Hey, Rob, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a one-legged stripper dance?
Have I ever seen a one-legged stripper dance? No. No, I've been to like strip clubs where like, you know, they have some really like serious C-sections going on or like, you know what I mean?
Oh my God, yeah.
Shit like that. Or maybe like
but there is a scene in there.
Unfortunately toothless. You know what I mean?
There
but
is a scene in this movie where a military guy is like, I've never seen a one-legged stripper dance before. Dance.
Unfortunately, I have to bring up another monster when we talk about this film, Mr. Harvey Weinstein. But you know, he's plastered all over this thing. And Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, they are huge fans of exploitation and Grindhouse and all that, and they created Grindhouse, which of course was a double feature, Planet Terror and Death Proof. But we are not going to talk about Death Proof. We're going to talk about Robert Rodriguez's edition, Planet Terror. Melody, what can you say about this movie?
This movie is freaking awesome. It's very Grindhouse. Very, very Grindhouse. So
That's probably why they called it Grindhouse.
Yeah. Right? It's very gritty. You're gonna see grainy, yeah, very grainy. You do have this one beautiful young lady. The actress's name is
Rose McGowan.
You have Rose McGowan, who's playing a stripper, and in the beginning of this movie, and
she's a go-go dancer. How dare you?
Go dancer.
You uncultured swine.
I am so uncultured.
You are very much so.
That's why I watch movies like Planet Terror.
She even says it in the movie. I'm a go-go dancer. How dare you call me a stripper?
But anyways, so she's leaving her job because it's twisted into something dirty, and she ends up going to this restaurant. I think it's a restaurant, right?
Yeah, so basically, you know, she's a go-go dancer. They wanted her to do more sexual stuff, and you know, like clearly that was something that Rose McGowan had.
She's like, ew, gross.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so she basically like flips the finger, and she's just like, you know, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has this boyfriend, this mysterious boyfriend, El Rey. And
El Rey.
El Rey, yeah. And El Rey.
I never miss.
Yeah. What's really great about El Rey is like everybody's just like, so he's the mysterious El Rey, but nobody ever mentions what he does.
No.
What he's about. You know what I mean? Like you're just supposed to kind of come to your own conclusions. This dude's just a total. Well, we know he's a total badass because you see him doing it. But like, you know, when it comes to his like jacket or whatever, like,
but he's just
supposed.
I think his whole role is just to knock her up. That's it.
What's really funny though is that El Rey is actually the fake. The fake town that George Clooney wanted to go to and From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember El Rey? He wanted to give the money to get to El Rey, And it was, of course, Robert Rodriguez's channel for a while. He had the El Rey network. But yeah, you know, Planet Terror is just, you know, again, it's just mindless fun.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And
but
it's
listen,
disgusting.
Rose
and there's boils,
McGowan,
and there's pus, and there's cum, and there's balls in jars.
And, you know, and there's melted.
There's a freaking child that blows his own head off because there's a gun in the glove compartment.
No,
I mean,
God, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then Rose McGowan missing a leg, and she puts a machine gun in there.
Of course, you know,
yes.
everybody remembers that from the posters and
yes.
stuff. You know, here's the weird thing about this movie, which I'm sure you know about. It was a bomb.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
it was an absolute bomb. Now I remember.
People didn't get it. Yeah.
No, I don't think it was that. I think it was just like, you know, it was really ballsy to put it out because I remember I was working at a movie theater at the time. I think I was doing security, and you know, because I would like go back and forth. I'd like go into that Planet Terror like Death Proof like room all the time, like the theater where that was playing. I think also around that time, I think 300 was also playing, so you had that, and then you also had, you know, it was around Easter, so you had all this family fare.
Oh, yeah.
I think one of them was Are We There Yet? That Ice Cube movie. So like, you know, it just got caught in this like weird thing where there's a blockbuster and then there's this other thing and then you got this weird thing.
It was very indie.
It was just
it was very indie at the time. Yeah.
Oh my God! But like, if you were in that theater, just having so much fun, like everybody was just like I said, they were just high-fiving each other.
Oh yeah.
Banging on the seats.
Hooting and hollering.
Yeah, It was awesome. It was so much fun. It was the best experience I ever had. I went to see that movie five times because I just had such a great time, you know? But yeah, like, I mean, you know, like, I guess it, like, you know, it's a focus, like, later on in the movie, but, like, you know, there is sort of, like, you know, with the Return of the Living Dead, this trioxin stuff that's, like, kind of released into the air, and it, like, turns people into zombies and stuff. Like, you know, they're not, like, undead, you know, like, rising from the ground. It's just, like, you know, like an infection type of thing. But it's really disgusting and like.
Oh my God, this one is so gross.
Yeah, you're all pussy
it
and
is,
oily.
Oh
and
my
stuff.
God, like you're melting. It is so.
And then just like Fergie from Black Eyed Peas, like, you know, when they take you, they just rip you apart. Like they don't even like, you just see like body parts flying everywhere.
This one is gross, y'all.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Yes, it's so gross. It is awesome though, but it is gross.
Yeah.
And you see some real.
You got my man Michael Biehn in there, Tom Savini. You got you know.
And you see some real deviant assholes get their due,
including Quentin Tarantino.
He really gets it.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino definitely gets it.
He does play a really good asshole.
He really does.
I've noticed that, yeah.
He really does. We mentioned in, you know, like from Dusk Till Dawn portion of our vampire series that, you know, like I love.
But he wasn't really an asshole in that. He was just crazy as fuck.
Yeah. He puts a gun to her head and he goes, "You look like Ava Gardner, but you know what? If I pull this trigger, guess what? You don't look like fucking Ava Gardner anymore." Yeah, he's a real fucking sick, deviant lunatic. So with that, we put everything back into the ground. That is our show. Thank you very much for your continued love and support, as we said before. Like I said, please like and subscribe. It definitely helps us, you know, get out to people. We really just want, you know, like, you know, to build a community here. It is growing every day. Thank you so much for that. Join us next week for our first live. It'll actually be on our YouTube channel. So like, of course, we'll promote that and let you know when that's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to talk to some people. Hopefully, you know, people show up. And with that, we'll see you later. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Other kids at St. Bernard Academy. They were the girls who didn't belong.
Whatever you do, stay away from them.
Why?
They're witches.
But after years of being on the outside,
Why'd you lie about me?
I don't want to go out with you again. Please, stop begging. It's pathetic.
4 girls are about to discover the dark side.
You ever heard of invoking the spirit? Black magic. We can make things happen. I mean, this is it. This is real.
Columbia Pictures welcomes you to the witching hour.
Check it out, her spell is working. Sit.
How can you say Girls, watch out for those weirdos.
We are the weirdos, mister.